Right before she died of a drug overdose, I had no idea she was taking drugs.
It gets you addicted. I mean, I started out like any drug, just doing it once a week. Then it became twice a week. Then it became almost every night, smoking a little bit. Then it became waking up with it, doing it all day long.
I didn't get to see my daughter, but her dad did.
He was a heroin addict. He, had struggled with heroin for a long time, but he had been clean for a year.
I'm just thinking to myself, like, God, why? Why did you drive?
I looked to the left and I saw like this white truck, and I couldn't say no. I said, I go, oh Jesus, like that, and it hit us.
You will be convicted of a felony if you're caught selling this stuff.
And what you don't really realize is that you're putting your life in danger and everybody else around you in danger, and it's just not worth it.
It was 8 minutes from the time the officer left, and that my daughter was killed.
Broke my back at T12, severed my spinal cord, had a punctured lung, a torn diaphragm, and several broken ribs, and that's what left me paralyzed at the waist, and he got a speeding ticket. That's it.
Good morning, folks. Thank you for joining us. I thought I would try coming on this morning and visiting with you guys for a little while, just to reach some of the people who we don't normally reach when we do these live events in the evenings. Most of our live events are Central Time, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. And so thought we would come here and give us a chance to visit with some of the people who are more morning people. To start with, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Naloxone. Naloxone, you probably heard it referred to as Narcan, which is a brand name. Here it is, right here, Narcan. And the active ingredient in Narcan is called Naloxone. It is a drug that is designed to rapidly reverse the effects of a life-threatening opioid emergency, an overdose. So here's the thing: you hear people talk about Narcan often, and you hear about Naloxone less often. And so I wanted to take a minute to talk about how what's important is Naloxone, not Narcan specifically. And so the best way to do that is to show you guys this. This is 6 different products that contain Naloxone that are opioid overdose reversing drugs, the same drug. All of these are exactly the same in terms of how effective they are. Some research implies that Kloxxado, which is on the left side of the screen with the box that's white with some orange on it, Kloxxado is a higher dose. All the others are 4 milligrams of naloxone. Kloxxado is 8 milligrams. And there is some research that indicates that a higher initial dose may act just a few seconds more quickly. And in the case of hypoxia, of not enough oxygen getting to the brain, seconds really matter a lot. So, but the main point is that all of those are the same, and they all are naloxone. Naloxone is the drug. Naloxone is what matters. That I think that I feel like there's confusion when people just hear Narcan. You're limiting what people know about treating an overdose. Ryan Joe Falk. We'll just go with Ryan. How about that? So that is awesome. You're familiar with naloxone. They all say naloxone. All the boxes. The Narcan box says naloxone right under the name. So when people talk about Narcan, it's sort of the same as calling a tissue a Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand name. Narcan is a brand name. Naloxone is what matters. And so I just really want to stress that. So, Ryan, your brother's sober now. That is awesome. Naloxone has saved and will continue to save many lives. Godspeed. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. You're right. Naloxone has saved many lives. There's no way to ever calculate how many lives. There are a lot of times out there among people living on the street who overdose, are treated with naloxone by someone else on the street, and then it never gets reported. You never hear anything about it. But holy cow, it is so important for people to realize naloxone wears off, and naloxone can wear off before the opioid that caused the overdose wears off. And that can mean I heard the term from a pharmaceutical company, re-narcotization. And what that means is they overdose again. So it's extremely important anytime someone is revived with naloxone, regardless of how good they feel at the moment, it's extremely important for them to go to the hospital. Extremely important. They need to be monitored for a little while because it can happen again. And if you used all the naloxone you have, they could die. So it's extremely important to always call 911, regardless of what kind of condition the patient is in. Another thing that's important to be aware of is that using naloxone can sometimes have an effect on the victim. When they come to, they're going to be immediately in withdrawal. And what that means is, wow, they may not be in a good mood. And so that is also extremely important, vital to stay aware of and be prepared for. Administering naloxone, this is what it looks like. It's just a simple nasal sprayer. This one says Cloxato on it, and it says naloxone as well, and it says 8 milligrams. And applying naloxone is simply a matter of pushing it up the victim's nose as far as you can, pushing the plunger on the bottom, and that's it. And it's administered. And you monitor them. You keep their airway clear. You can apply chest compressions. You can do breathing, mouth to mouth, if you want, and monitor them. If they don't come to in a minute or two, hit them again. Every box, this brand or any brand, every box has 2 doses. So that's really all there is to naloxone. It's available free in a lot of places. It is oftentimes available free from harm reduction facilities. It's available free at opioid overdose awareness events, fentanyl awareness events. It's available free from some government agencies. It's a Google thing. It's going to vary depending on what area you're in. So, Ryan, have you seen some of our stories? We have over 250 episodes of stories about fentanyl poisoning, fentanyl overdose, and they are from all over the country. So who else is with us? Anybody have any questions for me, or questions about the series, questions about where we're going to be next, whatever? Any kind of questions that anyone would like to ask while we're here in the morning? In the morning, it is 9:35 here. We are in Central Time. I'm in Houston, Texas. Yes, Ryan, it is beyond tragic and heartbreaking. We talk to so many families, and we hear from families all over the country who are interested in sharing their story. And we don't turn anyone away. We've never turned anyone away. We also have a series of addiction recovery stories. I've been using words for a while. You would think I would get that right. We also have a series of addiction recovery stories on our channel that consists of about 45 stories, and I can share a link to that. The addiction recovery stories are different because they're stories of victory. Your late father was from Houston. That's awesome. I was born here, and except for a couple of short periods where I lived in another city in Texas, I've lived my whole life here. Well, not my whole life, not yet. So the addiction recovery stories, they are stories of victory, and they can be a great resource for anyone who's looking for a little bit of inspiration or motivation or reassurance that they're on a good path. So we really like to direct people to the addiction recovery stories. There's not as many as the fentanyl poisoning stories, and they don't typically get anywhere near the same level of attention as the addiction poisoning stories. But holy cow, they are so important. There are so many different kinds of recovery stories. Some who talk about the value of the 12-step program, some who talk about the value of church or other solutions. One thing that seems consistent is having some level of support, someone that is in your corner, whether you would formally call them a sponsor or whether you would look at them more as being like, just a supportive friend, but having someone that you're accountable to, having someone that you can share your progress with, your achievements with, that seems to be vital. And it's also vital to be among people. There's even research that supports that. So I see we only have a few other people in the room. Anyone have any questions that you'd like to ask or comments about our channel for our series, I ask as a way to buy time so I can have a little more coffee and pass time. So we're not usually here in the mornings like this, and I really thought it would be a good idea to just try a morning. That there's people on YouTube in the mornings who may not be on in the evenings, and so it seemed like a good opportunity to see what's here. So last Saturday, we recorded a story right here in the Texas Pictures studio, and I have a little excerpt from that. It's not really an excerpt of the interview. It's more like behind the scenes view, and I thought that I would share that with you guys because, well, it's a cool little thing. It's just a couple of minutes long. The big question that the storyteller is responding to during this interview, this is the victim's sister that I'm talking to in this clip, is the question was about how she got along with her older brother. Her brother was 5 years older than her, and well, she had an answer that I thought was pretty hilarious. So I thought I would share this with you guys. So okay, so that's when he was old enough to drive, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what about younger? Did y'all get along? Were y'all?
We would fight. I actually used to bite myself, and then I would tell my mom that he bit me. So I would get to bite him back. And it worked for like years until my mom saw me do it one day, like saw me bite myself. I got in a lot of trouble for that.
As you should. Holy cow. Wow. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
My sister's 5 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 years, yeah. So she never thought of that. So as you got older, got into high school, and guys started coming around, that had to be pretty scary for the guys too.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
And do you play any instruments?
He played guitar and harmonica. He had this strap thing so he could play harmonica while he played the guitar.
Yeah, like Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
So how about that? I thought I'm assuming you guys could hear the exchange. She said that when her and her brother were kids, she would sometimes bite herself, leave marks, and then say that he did it as a way to get him in trouble. I thought that was quite devious, also pretty brilliant. My sister is 5 years younger than me, and she never thought of that. But it would have been some times when that would have been a useful tool for her, I'm sure. So who else is in the room now? Who else is out there? Where are you watching from? Are you in the United States? Are you in some other country? If you're watching from a smart TV in your home, you can also log in on your phone, and you can participate in the chat using your phone while still watching the live event on your television. And so some people do that. According to YouTube analytics, about half of our audience uses their TV to watch our content. And so there isn't typically a way to engage in this kind of chat on the TV. But you can use your phone and engage in the chat while you're still watching the program on the big screen. So just thought I would share that. So who else is with us? Is any of our storytellers with us this morning? Ryan, I don't remember. I don't believe you mentioned where you're at. What are you in the United States? Are you, if you are, what state are you in? Did you mention that? V, great to see you, lurking. Haven't seen you in a while. People were asking about you last night. Where's V? Good to see you here. Wow, that was a weird noise right there. So V, is everything good? Where are you? Are you I don't want to guess. Where are you? Not anywhere near Oklahoma City, I guess, right? So the reason why I ask about Oklahoma City, folks, is because there is an event coming up Sunday in Oklahoma City. We're going to just have a gathering of whoever can make it at a place called at 120 days off of opioids. You're nailing this, V. Good job. Good job. So, V, gosh, have you seen the last couple of stories? We had a story premiere last night. Yeah, and I appreciate that, V. I thought it would be a good idea to come on in the morning just to try to reach some different people that aren't typically on YouTube in the evenings, and see who we find. There's one person in particular who often comments on the stories who is in the UK. His name is Gary, and I thought maybe I would see Gary if I happened to do this. But certainly not here. Just on the hope that Gary might catch the live. But V, what part of the country are you in? I don't remember. I should remember. I know I should remember. It's terrible that I don't remember, but that's me. Me and Brad are both older, and our memory is shot. Which implies, of course, that my memory was ever any good, and that isn't quite realistic either. So I appreciate you sharing. No, I've been struggling with SSRI. They put me on, I'm in the West. Okay. I'm sorry, SSRI. I don't know what that means. So if anyone is in Oklahoma City or or around Oklahoma City, you're welcome to join us. We're going to be at Toby Keith's I like this bar and grill, whatever it's called. Psychiatric. I understand. So we're going to be at this Toby Keith's bar and grill at 2:00 on Sunday. It's the location that is in Bricktown in Oklahoma City. And it's just open to anyone. So V, we would certainly love to see you in the next live event that happens in the evening. Brad and Carla and Brenda, Deidre, others that I'm neglecting, that I'm forgetting, the whole memory thing. They'd love to see you there. And I don't think any of them are here. We also haven't seen Nux in a while, and hope to see her sometime soon. Join in one of the chats again. So I wanted to put out the question that I guess I kind of keep asking, but does anybody have any questions about our channel or about me or whatever? If there's any questions out there, certainly this is a great time to ask, because I'm just here. I will certainly let I call them the usual suspects. You're one of the usual suspects. And I will certainly let all the usual suspects that are in the next evening live event, I'll certainly let them know that you were here and that we had a chance to visit a little bit. They'll be glad to hear that, and they will be wanting to see you join again for sure. So what other parts of the country are with us in the chat right now? I'm in Houston, Texas. V is in the West. And that's about all I know. Ryan, I don't remember you saying what part of the country you're in. But it's always interesting to hear where people are. We travel a lot to gather these stories. In the next couple of months, we're going to be going to Wichita, Kansas, Denver, Colorado, Pensacola, Florida, Portsmouth, Virginia, and Seattle, Washington. Those are the ones I remember. And like I said, my memory is so, what are you going to do? So we do travel a lot. And let's see, I thought I would share some of the places. This is most of the places where we've shot stories in the last 18, 20 months or so. We have been to all of these locations. There's several locations along the Texas-Mexico border. There's several locations in Florida. There's also 3 locations in northern Florida that don't have stars yet. I need to update this map for sure. So random user, thank you for joining us. I want to start a nonprofit to spread awareness about fentanyl poisoning. I'm in Deer Park, and there's not enough people talking about this issue. Deer Park, well, golly, that's not far at all from here. So spreading awareness can be a daunting task. In Deer, do I know you, Ann? Have we met? I feel like there was some event in Deer Park that I was at, maybe 6 months ago, some sort of something. But one of the things that that we try to do through an organization I'm a part of called Fentanyl Fathers is we try to bring fentanyl awareness presentations into every high school and middle school in the United States. And it is puzzling the volume of resistance we run into from school administrators. They had one in 2023. See, it could have been that. Time just kind of, so it could have been in 2023. So, Anne, do you have a story related to fentanyl? Do you? I don't. I haven't lost anyone to fentanyl, but now I have tons of friends who have. We have met people all over the country, and yeah. So you're in Deer Park. I'm in the Clear Lake area in Houston. Not enough people were there. I know there's been, I went to an event in Galveston a few months ago. Also not a great turnout. What about, our solution is always going to be make more stories. Are you familiar with many people in Deer Park who have lost someone to fentanyl through counterfeit pills or a deliberate user, whatever? Do you know of many of those in the Deer Park area? Because I know the Deer Park Police Department is, they feel like it's not much of an issue. Last I heard. If you'd like, exactly. Yeah. And so if you'd like, we can probably help you make something happen. What we could do is come someplace in Deer Park and have what we call them, when we do these events where we record interviews with people, we call them storytelling summits. And we could do something like that in Deer Park, and that creates an opportunity to draw media attention. And media attention can get results from law enforcement. Sherry Gilly, my son is on fentanyl IV. I drove him to a 21-day detox in Black Mountain, North Carolina. What can I do to help with this epidemic? Where are you at, Sherry? Are you in North Carolina? V asked, how have you and yours been, Glenn? You do deal with grief. Have you ever cried? No pressure to answer. Sure. Yeah, you're welcome to email me. You can get on at the end of this broadcast. There'll be our email address, the main email address that we try to run all the fentanyl stuff through is info at texas-pictures.com. That's a hyphen, not spelling out the word dash. Sometimes I feel like I have to explain that. And I'm not saying you're like from Pasadena or something, but Deer Park's close to Pasadena. Anyway, so Valdez, North Carolina. I bet I didn't say that right, but no matter. We will be in Portsmouth, Virginia soon, recording stories. So for me, I'll address this. Have I ever cried? Yeah. But here's the thing: when we're shooting interviews, just like in the clip that we showed earlier, I have a lot going on. I'm totally engaged in the storyteller's story. I'm asking the storyteller questions and listening to what he or she has to say, and totally engaged in the story. But I am also blessed with some distractions that I am monitoring the audio recording. I'm watching the camera. I'm making sure everything is good with the camera. I'm looking at the time. I'm doing all kinds of other things. I have this great volume of distractions. And aside from that, I know how the interview is going to conclude. And what I mean by that is when the interview is over, the storyteller virtually always obviously feels good, better, because they got the chance to the chance to share about their loved one, and they got the chance to do something that might pull just a little bit of value out of this terrible loss. And so I need a prop. Hold on. And so when the interview is over, I have a couple of things that I need one more prop. Okay. All right, sorry. I'm back now. So powerful, right? I understand. It is powerful. And when we get to that last moment, when I come around from behind the camera, they hug me. They always hug me. And it is, man or woman, doesn't matter. It is a hug that is, it's a big deal. It's powerful. And after the hug, I reach into my pocket and I give them one of these, a roll of lifesavers. It's a great metaphor for what they just did. Because sharing their story saves lives. It can't not sometimes save a life. And this cool thing happens when I put this in the storyteller's hand. They'll look at it, and at first you'll see them kind of processing it. They think, "Oh, this is cool," and you can see them thinking, "I remember these from when I was a kid." And then they get it, and they'll start to cry. But it's a different kind of tears that comes from that. And so after the lifesavers, if that's not cool enough, they also get a T-shirt. And I explained to them that we have a merchandise store, and the merchandise store, there's a link to it on our website, not on our channel. And I don't really know why there's not a connection on our channel anymore, but there isn't. And it's gone away. But we're working on that. But there is a link to our merchandise store on our website, texas-pictures.com. And in our merchandise store, there is T-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies, coffee mugs like this one that has our logo on front, and on the back it says Stories That Matter. I think it's way cool. It's ridiculously expensive. It's like $16, $17 for one coffee mug. But it doesn't show any dirt. And so I think that's cool. I mean, you can't, it stays clean. You know, look at, I had a white cup before this and it was dirty all the time. And so this just stays clean. It's awesome. That's probably why it's so expensive, because it cleans itself or something. I don't know. Anyway. And so, and then I tell them about the store. I tell them that there's T-shirts and hoodies and all of that. But this isn't there. I explained to them that the only way to get this shirt is to do what you did. And so I hope you can read this. It's our logo with the word storyteller on top. Storyteller. And the only way to get this is when you share your story. And so that's cool. And then on the back, a little bit bigger, and the QR code in the center of the logo, the QR code connects to our YouTube channel. And I explained to the storyteller how there's the fentanyl stories, their story, whatever it is, will be there. But there's also addiction recovery stories, human trafficking stories. We're starting a series on domestic violence. And we're exploring how to do a series that addresses mental health concerns. There's a whole lot of interconnection between all of those things, between recovery and mental health, and human trafficking usually involves addiction or some sort of drug issue. And so that's what I get to do with the storyteller at the end of it all. I give them the lifesavers. And that makes them smile and cry. And I give them the shirt. And that makes them smile and cry. So, yeah, I hear some some really difficult stories. But I know what happens when it's over, and there's a great reward to that for me. And then later, when the story has been edited and it's published on our channel and it starts getting some views, it happens again. I'm able to tell the storyteller, holy cow, over 8,000 people have watched your story already. Over 10,000, over whatever. And so it's all, I know what's coming. And so there's a lot of awesome in all of that. So let me scroll back, because I have missed some stuff here. Due to the fentanyl stories. Yeah, so powerful, right? I understand. Okay, Shelley says, I am so scared. I have administered Narcan 4 times and done CPR. I am constantly on alert. Our government is not taking this seriously. I don't understand. I don't understand either. Our government isn't addressing it in the substantial way that they certainly could. It is urgent, is gigantically urgent. There has been a decline in the rate of overdose. I do have a graphic that shows that, I think. Yeah, I do. And this graphic might make some of you cringe. Oh, look at this. I can do something really creative here. So there is this graphic. And in this graphic, up at the top, you can see that it's starting to taper off a little bit, and that's in 2022. That tapering off isn't automatically to the credit of anything that the government has done. There's no evidence that makes that taper clearly to the credit of any government action. The taper could just as easily be a matter of what happens when a whole bunch of grassroots organizations trying to create fentanyl awareness starts making things happen. There are tons of fentanyl awareness organizations out there now, and they are making all kinds of noise all over the country. Many of these organizations, most of them, are organized by parents who have lost a loved one, usually a son or daughter, to fentanyl poisoning. So that taper could just as easily be solely because of those efforts. The taper also begins around the time when we started making our fentanyl poisoning stories. I'm not trying to take any credit for it, but there's as much evidence of that as there is evidence that the government has made a difference. So, Sherry, all you can do is stay vigilant. I wish there was something better that I could recommend. You can get your loved one to watch some of our addiction recovery stories. We have a whole series of those. There's over 40, I think there's over 45 of them now. Some of them are crossovers where they're listed in the playlist for the fentanyl poisoning series, and they're also listed in the playlist for the addiction recovery series because there's overlap. And so they're listed in both. But there is 45. I can look. I can just look. I ought to know this, right? And so if I just check out our channel content, I can have a look at in our playlists and in the addiction recovery series. There's 47 stories. And so maybe seeing some of those victory stories would have some value for your loved one. So, Sherry, we also have a private Facebook group that is for storytellers, those who have shared stories with us, and those who at some point wish to share their story with us. It is a private Facebook group. The only way to get it is by invitation. And so to get an invitation, if you friend me on Facebook, I can, and then message me asking for an invite, I will send you one. Inside the group, you'll find almost all of the storytellers in the fentanyl series and most of the storytellers in the recovery series. And so that could be useful. It's a great way to stay current on what Texas Pictures has going on, when the next event is, and where it's going to be, and things like that. So V says that I'm one of her lifesavers. That's great, V. Thank you. I'd love to buy some. I hope I can. My husband knows who you are. Well, okay, that's a little bit of a scary statement. My husband knows who you are. What is, I don't, hmm, okay. Well, anyway, there is a link to our store on our website. If you go to texas-pictures.com on the homepage, there there is a link on the homepage that explains how the storytelling process works for anyone who wants to share a story. And there's another link that explains how storytelling summits get organized. Every storytelling summit, all of those summits, all of these locations right here, all of these locations began by one person local to wherever the star is, asking us to come there to record stories, wanting to share their story, and that's how it begins. The local person finds a suitable location for us to shoot interviews, and we start announcing the event, and people start signing up, and off we go. Typically at a location, we'll shoot for 2 days, and we'll shoot somewhere between 6 and 9 stories per day. Let me see where I'm at. How is the Zoom, Glenn, with your audience? Not much happened. Couldn't get in on my IT challenge. That's all right. It'll be fine. We'll try it again at some point. Buck Jones, 1909. Well, I don't know what to make of that, but okay. Buck Jones, I can't stay, but I wanted to say thank you for bringing this human tragedy so vividly to our attention. God bless you all. Thank you, Buck. Thank you. Great to hear from you. I appreciate you being here. V, I'm sorry. He knows you're helping addicts. How grateful we are to you and everyone at Texas Pictures Documentaries. V, that's your husband, Buck Jones? Uh-huh. Okay, then. Well, thanks for stopping in, Buck. Good job. Buck Jones. That's just a great name. It kind of sounds like some sort of country. I don't know, like country Rambo. Okay, I don't know. Buck Jones. Yeah. I picture him being ready to fight, but also having a guitar. So where was I? Are there other questions that you folks have? We have been here a while now, and we're probably going to wrap it up pretty soon. But I want to see what other questions we have. So, random user, and yeah, feel free to email me. There are things we can do, things we can help you with. I think having some sort of event in Deer Park would be awesome, and I get the impression that it might be a little bit of a challenge. I have a few connections in the area, and I can feel them out and see what I can learn about Deer Park. And in fact, I think at one time I was a member of the Deer Park Chamber of Commerce. I think. Sherry, yes, thank you from the bottom of our heart for all your efforts to bring awareness to this epidemic. It is my pleasure. Just it is. I feel so very blessed to be in this spot we're in right now in terms of having We don't have sponsors. We don't have grant money. We don't have we don't have any source of funding for this series other than what comes from the advertising on YouTube. And so what that means is, it means we're taking all the risk. But aside from taking all the risk, it also means that we're not accountable to anyone except for the storyteller and the audience. So that's a really as a journalist, I was a journalism major in college. As a journalist, that is a super sweet spot to be in. Ann says, how about Pasadena or Channelview? Do you think there would be resistance there? I've gotten to the point where I kind of think there's going to be resistance always until I hear otherwise. I know that one school district, maybe it was Deer Park, maybe it was LaPorte, maybe it was Pasadena. I know there's one school district. There's one school district that was approached by an organization to have fentanyl awareness presentations for the students, and they said no. And a few weeks later, a student was found in possession of some counterfeit pills that contained fentanyl. And then that school district came back and said, yeah, okay, we can do it now. Sometimes it takes that. Another cool trick is if you can get an audience with a school district to pull out Snapchat and show the school district exactly where in the neighborhood they can go get illicit drugs right now. So, and you're asking why. I guess you're asking why school districts tend to resist the idea. And I think it's not really, it's not ignorance. It's just not wanting the fight. And when I say the fight, what I mean is there's a lot of parents out there, not anyone in this group, I'm sure, but there's a lot of parents out there that will just go bananas anytime a school district does anything like that. That if there's fentanyl awareness presentations in the school and the kid goes home and says, Mom, we learned about illicit drugs today. We learned about fentanyl and Narcan and all of that. Some parents will call up the principal or call up the administration and start getting really upset. Why is my kid at risk? Does your school district have a problem with drugs? Do I need to move my kid to another school? What's going on? Why are you teaching my kid this? My kid is too young to be dealing with this. I talk to my kids. They'll do stuff like that. And school administrators, they got to have such a tough job dealing with reasonable parents and nut job parents and finding that balance between the two. Yes, and for sure, this drug does not discriminate. Even those parents can be victims. That's for sure. We're working on a story now where we interviewed a victim's son. He was 8 or 10 years old. But I think that the issue, the challenge that some school districts create is really about the parents they have to deal with. That's where the difficulty comes from, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Very cool little kid. I I, I think he's gonna be okay. So what else? What else can we share with you guys while we're here before we wrap this up? I would rather save lives than deal with those parents because I know if we don't do this, those parents one day can be on one of those videos. Yeah, it's a thing. It is, and not all school districts fight the idea. There's some school districts that have contacted organizations and said, "Hey, we want to do things to educate our students." And there's school districts that fentanyl awareness education is mandated by the state in some states. And I believe Texas is one of those states now. I think. Yeah, they are the saddest stories. Yeah, I actually stories hurt me just a little bit more if it happened after we started doing the series. Just when I hear the date that someone lost a loved one, I always figure out in my head, well, how long after that did we start making these stories? Maybe we should have done more. Anyway, so we've been here a little bit over an hour, and it's going to be about time to wrap it up for today. I really appreciate you guys joining us and being a part of this. Haven't done the morning thing before, and holy cow, saw a lot of new faces and a familiar one or two, and so that's awesome. Shelley says, I'm asking for prayers from everyone for my son. The only way I stay upright is because I lean on my God. I believe in the power of prayer. Yeah, me too. Prayer is powerful. Prayer works. And prayer is a good exercise, even if you don't call it prayer. If you think about the process, you start by identifying things that you're grateful for. And then you organize your thoughts into a way where you prioritize the things that you want to happen. And then you sort that out. And then you ask nicely and you express a little more gratitude. And so that's a great exercise to do in your head, even if it's not prayer. Anyway, holy cow. Didn't see us going down that road. So I really appreciate you guys. Like I already said, I know. And I want to encourage you to feel free to reach out anytime if there's anything that we can do to help you guys. God put this mission on my heart, and if I will have to move heaven and earth to make this an important topic on every parent's mind. V says, Jesus Christ, help me. Jesus Christ kept me here I don't know why, but I'm going to keep pushing forward. Good job, V. And so we are here for you guys, and we're going to close it up for today, but I want to always share this. Here's our email address, info@texas-pictures.com. You can also find us on Facebook. To find us on Facebook, look for me. Look for my name, Glenn Muse, and friend me there and let me know how I can help you. And there's our website, texas-pictures.com, and you can find more information there. There's a phone number there, our mailing address, all of that cool stuff. So I want to thank you all for joining us again, and we will talk to you next time. You folks have a good day.